Good morning traders and welcome to today's live trading. Today is the 21st of March. It's a Thursday and as usual we are on the FTSE 100. So just to run you quickly through my band analysis, you can see I think I've marked a band up in around 7385. We've got one around 7350, one around 7320 and a couple below down here, sort of 7280 and 7250. I'm actually looking at taking a trade bang into the open. I don't do this often, but you can see here we've got these pre-market sort of lows down here. We've had a nice move down, we've rallied up into this level and we've got a really nice pin bar. It isn't even the previous pin bar, it's the candle before. Price is moving so slowly that I haven't had to put a order in, and we have just had a test of the ATMA. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to have a quick look at it further, but potentially we'll put an order in below this candle, and then as price opens, if price starts to move down, we'll look to take it. Just the stop on this will be sort of 8 to 9 points. All I'll be taking it to is this level down here, so looking for sort of 13-14 points ish. But yeah, the setup's quite a good one actually, so hence why I'm looking at it this morning. I rarely take trades as the market opens, so I'm just going to go away and check the higher time frames and everything, and if it is a valid trade, then I'll be putting that order in. If not, I'll just be waiting for the open. So I'll catch up with you shortly. Okay, so we're 5 minutes into the open, so we're just 5 past 8 as it stands. And as weird as this candle is here, I'm still going to take the signal before the open, so the one at 7:45 here. So what I'm going to do is put a stop order below this candle. I'll do that now. So we're in at 308.4. Let me do that quickly. 2, 3, 08.4. The stop will go sorry, right candle 17. Pop that order in there, and the reason for that is, and I've said it before, is when we get a valid signal candle, if price moves above that signal candle and closes, then it becomes invalid. Now we've had 1, 2, 3 candles since that signal candle. I didn't want to take it before the open because of this exact reason. You just get so much volatility sometimes on the morning that even a good signal doesn't work out. So because of the volatility, the spreads will widen slightly and everything, so it makes it difficult. So I didn't get in straight away, but because this candle has closed back down within the sort of range of this bar, for me it means that signal is still valid, hence the order that I've put in there. So I can show you the ticket there, the stop loss is in. If this starts to move down now, we will get triggered. And like I said, the level that we're looking for is down sort of 295, level 294. So we'll see if we get some selling come into this market and start moving this market down towards that profit target. Okay, so it didn't take too long for that one to not work out, unfortunately. You can see price tried a couple of times to close down below this ATMA. We got stuck on the pivot the second time, and then it looks like we've just reacted from there really, and moved back up. We're now sort of testing this 200 moving average again, and potentially looking like we're going to want to move a little bit higher, which is a shame because it was a nice sort of pattern. As I mentioned earlier, we had this move up, then we get this move down that breaks the previous support. We get a move back up into that support, he says, up here, and then obviously we stalled nicely. Nice signal. Yes, it didn't trigger straight away, but that's just due to when it happened, you know, just before the open. It remained valid, and it triggered us nicely. So yeah, it's a shame that one didn't work out. There are not too many clean-cut patterns like that you see first thing on a morning, so I was never going to pass that one up. But we just go back to watching now. So looking at the higher time frames, we're in a little bit of a chop. If I show you, here's the hourly chart. It's a bit bigger. You can see we're really struggling to make a decision as to which way we're going to trade. This is probably down to all the decisions being made with Brexit and everything. That's just holding the market up these last couple of days. But you can see there's not really many clues on the hourly. If anything, we're just starting to get this wedge type pattern come in, which is obviously indicative of indecision as the price gets smaller and smaller. So it may take a sort of decision for us to break out of there before we do see any sort of decisive move one way or the other. But obviously if the hourly looks like that, the 4 hour doesn't look much better. So yeah, it's difficult to take too much information away from those time frames when they look like that. Hence why I was so happy with the pattern that I saw this morning, but just not one of those that has worked out, unfortunately. So what I'll do now is just go back to watching the bands. If we do get a move upwards, I think I would probably favour a move straight up to the band up here, and then, you know, a potential sell. That might align more with obviously the range bound price action, rather than waiting for a break above here, retest and trading up to this level. You can see that didn't happen last time we moved above the band here, and didn't happen here either. And probably equally, if we were going to break down now, I would like to see price come down to this band and then trade again back towards sort of the 310 level. But we'll see. So like I say, I'll go back to watching and I'll catch up with you later on. Alright, we're just gone 10 to 9 now. As you can see, we did get that move up that I was talking about. It moved quite nicely actually up to the band above, and has literally just sold off straight away. Absolutely no opportunity to get into that whatsoever. A little bit frustrating really, but we do now have a very decent close above this band. We've moved up and taken out this high. If we're going to come back down and say test these levels here within this band, it would be good if it did it without breaking the ATMA. That just really depends. It would probably have to do it on this candle, say come all the way down, maybe just tag the band and give me a pin bar. Then, you know, potentially there is some scope to trading this back up to the upside. It just depends how it's going to react down here really. But yeah, just wanted to update you on that. Not really moving as we were hoping it was going to today, but you've just got to roll with it and you know, stay open-minded. Don't get too attached to any one idea, and hopefully the market will give us another setup at some point. But until then, I'm still watching, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so we've just gotten 9:30, and what I'm going to do is put a buy order just above this previous candle here. The high is 23.5, so I want to be in at 24.7. 24.7. The stop loss on this will be 14.3. Pop that order in there. So you can see the order's been accepted. So if we start moving up now, we will get triggered into a buy position. So a couple of reasons for this trade. Obviously we're inside one of the pre-identified bands. marry that with this level that I drew on earlier, you can see actually if this trade does trigger, we will be above this level, which is why I like it. And also, price has just tested the hourly ATMA, you can see down here, the blue line there, and also it's not far off a test of that 4-hour EMA. It's that sort of level that the price has come down and tested there within that candle. So if we're going to see a reaction or an influx of buying, it seems as good a place as any that you would see that. It's a nice pin bar. The only thing against it really is obviously we've struggled to maintain a move in one direction or the other, but it is a nice move upwards when you look at it as a whole, and this is not an overly big correction into a decent level. So if price does want to come up and start and trigger that order, then I think there's a good chance that we could see a move back up towards this band, which is where the profit target would be. But yeah, the other factor is that we haven't tested the ATMA, which can always be a little bit of a struggle to move past. What we might see is a test and a reaction and then a move past, or we might see a test, a reaction, and we get stopped. If it does trigger, that is. So yeah, don't know what that word was. As I say, they are sort of the possible permutations of how this trade might play out. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'll bring that ticket back across and leave this trade to run. Okay, I'm going to close the trade there for 13 points. It's up towards that 38-39 level that I was looking at earlier. You know, just before the band, as I usually target. So that worked out to be a good trade in the end. For a long time, I was expecting to get stopped. I think the stop on it was about 9 to 10 points there. So to take 13 was plenty good enough. But I mean, the signal was really good, as I talked over at the time. It was a decent signal. I liked the level. Sometimes, I guess, what I've found definitely more recently is if you are, or in my circumstances anyway, if I'm not 100% sure about a level, what I will do is just wait for a second failure at that level. So in this situation, for example, a safer bet would have been, having seen this signal candle here, to wait and see if price would test that level and fail again is essentially what I mean. And that did come here. Now, that wouldn't have necessarily stopped me from, you know, having to watch price go near my stop and then reverse, but it would have saved me from this sort of chop. There's always the potential when price is moving down like this for it to come past your stop. So I'm not saying it's foolproof. I'm not saying it's better to do it that way. I guess in some circumstances, if you find your confidence knocked, or you're just going through a tough patch, then try and find ways to sort of combat that. And one thing I've noticed is, on a couple of occasions, I've not actually used it yet. It's like I say, it's just to wait for this second failure at that same level, just as that extra added confluence, I guess. What that means is, hopefully the trades that I take, if I was to do this, would have a greater success rate, but I would definitely be taking less trades, because you're not always going to get that extra point of confluence. That's the thing with confluences: the more you have, the less frequent they're all going to come together. You need enough confluences to give you an edge in the market, but if you have too many, then you're rarely going to find a setup where all those confluences come together, if they're all needed, that is. So a second failure at a particular level isn't a confluence I look for. It's not something that's in my trading strategy, that, you know, it's not stipulated that I need to see that. All I'm saying is, if I was going through a tough point, or my confidence was knocked, and I needed to, rather than take myself away from the markets and become, build up maybe a fear of trading, just add that extra confluence point that would hopefully help me take a few less trades maybe, but with greater success rate. That would be one way I could combat that. If that's something you suffer from or struggle with, then maybe that's something worth thinking about. But yeah, I did not expect this trade to work. As I was watching it there, I was expecting this to roll over. I need to go out midday, so I wasn't miffed that I was going to be out of the market by midday, but I did expect this to roll over. As it happens, the 200 MA has held. Price has bounced really well, and now we're going even higher. We're up to 345. So yeah, a nice move in the end. Looks like this market wants to carry on going up. And so yeah, that really wraps up my trading day for today. I'm gonna leave, I think. So we got 13 points from that. I think we lost 9 earlier, so we finished 4 points up. So yeah, it's not terrible. Any day that you finish up, I guess, is a good one. And like I say, don't get put off. I've said it many times, but don't let losing trades affect the rest of your day. If you're a trader where that does happen, then maybe you should have a 1-loss rule, and if you do lose, then call it a day. Come back tomorrow with a fresh head, and as you get better at that, you can introduce, well, if I have 1 loss, I think I can stay calm enough to take another trade, and then you get to the point where the loss really doesn't have any bearing on you whatsoever, and you can carry on with the rest of your trading day. And hopefully you have days where there are going to be days where you have 2 trading losses in that single day, and they suck, to be honest. But it is just the odds. It isn't that you've done particularly crap on that day. Potentially, if the setups were good and they both lost, sometimes they lose, and sometimes you're going to have 2 in one day that loses. It doesn't mean you're a bad trader. It just means that that was just a crap day. Brush it off, come back the next. Remember that it's just probabilities, and stick to your guns, and you'll be fine. But thank you very much for watching. As always, I really hope you enjoyed the video, can take something away from the video. Any questions, anything at all, as usual, please pop them in the comments down below, and I'll see you next week.